Hi guys, so welcome to the second video of the week. I was explaining to you in the first video about body drawing, which is basically just a rough sketch of the entire thing, following the basic shape that I've given you. To give you an idea of, because I really need to work with a simpler character so I can go through this quickly. Satara, as you can see, is quite a complicated model. All these bits and pieces, it would have taken me hours to explain to you. But I hope this concept is clear and it is applicable to any character. With Satara, as you can see, this is, turning down the color, this is my rough, so this is my body drawing layer. Very sketchy, very messy. And as you can see, this is how, I'm going to turn the opacity down so you can see how I have refined her in the clothes drawing, or the clean lines layer. Alright, so I've moved things quite a bit. I have defined the lines so they're not just scribbles and jaggedy lines, but into very exact and calculated measurements of lines. And I've moved some features because I figured the face that I have in this drawing does not match my vision of her, which I made in this very early sort of quick painting that I did of her. So this is what I want her to look like, and I'm happy with that. So this definitely more closely match my idea of her. The lines that I have here is very black, so I'm going to turn the opacity down to soften her up a little bit. I'm still not happy with the way her colors look, so you will probably see me tweaking her quite a bit during class today. Alright, so where was I? Back to this man. Let's name him. I'm always a big fan of naming. Let's call him Jimbo. So this is Jimbo. This is Jimbo's body drawing, or rough sketch. And we're moving on to clothes drawing, which is the clean sketch. I should probably have named this a bit better, guys. But yes, clothes drawing. Now, as always, because this is rough, we're always going to be turning down the opacity because we sort of we don't want to ignore, but we want to be able to if we need to. So, selecting the clothes drawing section, this is the area where we can now fully refine the lines. So this is probably the bit that's going to take most time, because you have to, I've seen people, when you're working on your steampunk, you go to your brush layers and you chose something really huge, okay, and you start going like this that's not going to work, guys, unless you're doing a character for I can't even think. Fido Dido, I don't know if you know that character. A 2D flat character. Maybe it'll work for pixel art, but you're not doing pixel art, so please don't use brushes that are so big. You need to zoom in. There is no way around it. You will have to zoom in and work on the details. So I will choose my favorite brush, which is the calligraphy brush again, and I will go very carefully. And again, this doesn't have to be something that's so detailed to the point where it looks like those ink comic drawings where every line is one straight, precise, pristine, uninterrupted. You can have a little bit of jaggedness. You can be somewhat not so neat, because again, you'll be coloring this later on. Yes, I hear it, guys. I'm saying again. Very tough. Okay, he's not a happy boy, Jimbo, so I'm gonna make him quite grumpy. He's got quite a jaw. I have a thing for characters with very strong jaws. I don't know why. I always tend to exaggerate them when I draw jaws. Beats me. Don't know why I do that. And go. Fairly normal ears and fairly normal hair. Try not to draw hair strand by strand. It looks really horrible because in real life, if you squint, sometimes you don't even have to squint. Human hair usually made up of a single mass. And it's just bits of hair around the forehead area, but generally it's one single mass. So don't attempt to draw strand. I will do that. Maybe a bit of tuft there at the end. Adam's apple indicates this is in fact a man. Again, you can play around with different nose shape. You can Google nose shapes and you'll find lots of references. I am recommending you to do your own research for references. Maybe get actors or models that you think have a good face for your character. I have no qualm about you copying their faces. No tracing, please. Absolutely no tracing. Copying, you can. So Jimbo is not happy with life. He looks sad and angry at the same time. I don't know how I managed to pull that off. Okay, so this is enough for your line. It can be like that. I would prefer the lines to be a bit smaller, but it's okay. As long as you can see yourself coloring this without difficulty, wondering where the cheek is, where should I put the shadow, then you're good. And I can see here. So that should be fine. And I will move on. You can do the same thing and copy if you don't want to be bothered to redo him. You can do that. If you remember, again, what you must do is to Control C, Control V. Oh, I don't know why that is still selected. Okay, I will select this like this. Control C, Control V. Move it right there. Control T. Press Shift. Whoopsie. Control T. Press Shift. Press Shift. And we just now have to match him with the previous drawing, which I'm quite happy with that, I reckon. Okay, so see how thin that line is? You want to keep that consistency in this drawing as well. So I figure he looks a little bit barren. It doesn't tell me much about his character. Okay, what does he do for a living? Would he be just a normal passerby? I suppose if you play GTA, he would be some guy who would like to beat up random people. But there's no indication of personality. So what should I do? I'm going to give him a bit of a fashion what do they call it? Fashion makeover. I'm gonna give him a vest, one of those parka vests. And if you think I'm just doing random lines, I'm actually not. I'm following the curve of this square. You can see this line here, but there are no vests that are square because our bodies aren't square. They follow the shape of our body. So I'm just gently curving that square. And I'm building a width side like that. And building width. So you need to make sure that this is the midline. You know, see this red line? From here to here should be a measurable distance. This would probably be slightly longer than this one because of the perspective, because it's like that. See? So anything that falls, but it shouldn't be too different to the point that things look skewed. So you have that. Now, I have had students asking me how to do cloth creases realistically. It's a very hard question to answer. In the resources folder that I sent you, I've put some tutorial written, so PDF format, picture form on realistic cloth crease. Generally, it should be made easier because of this template. So you can see that I've got this drawing underneath, right? If you're making a loose t-shirt, you're basically just copying. My pressure sensitivity just dropped. I'm not sure why. Oh, you know what I did, guys? I forgot to merge these two. Okay, so I will merge them now. What was that close drawing? This and this, Control E. There you go. So they're now here. Okay, so basically, to create a loose t-shirt, I'm just following the curves. You see this curve there? I'm following the exact curve of this, but in a bigger form. I'm just exaggerating. Oh, like that. And then my hand will peek through underneath, and I'm just following the template at this stage. And for creases, well, it depends on the materials, really. T-shirts are usually made of quite starchy fabric, so they hold their shape quite well, and they're not very movable. You probably want it to stick a little bit closer to the body, because gravity will be pulling it off. So something like that. It's a pretty skinny person, so skinny arms. Where you see there's a division between the two shapes, which is this shape and this log, it's like a log of wood, then you want to put in a little, just a gentle curve there, like that. This is to do normal bare arm. You can see how I've built a thickness. Everything has some sort of thickness, so you can't have flat surfaces, because otherwise it looked like his clothes had been painted on instead of worn properly. Okay, so I think you get the idea. I'm debating whether I should continue or we should continue a bit more until I finish this. For example, if a character's wearing a belt and you have shirts tucked onto the belt, what would you do? Well, usually wherever there's tension, which is the belt or the pants pulling through, there will be creases like that. But you don't want to make it too uniform or to the point that it looks like a fan, like a paper fan. Just like when rendering the hair with the sound wave motion, you want it to look natural and random. Belt, make sure that it's right in the middle of the red line. And again, even belt has thickness, and nobody has square pelvic, so you want to round this off. and you can follow this. You can make it bigger, doesn't matter. Right in the crotch area, yes, talking about crotch area, usually for jeans. I'll just continue it like that and make some stitching marks, maybe put a bit of crease here, that, and maybe some pockets. And you got some jeans. Now I think his legs are way too thin and exaggerate at this point, so it is alright to move out of your rough drawing and make it a little more voluminous than. Okay, so that. Creases, again, it should always try to make it occur between where the gap is between the two shapes. I messed that one up. Basically, and just like that. Okay. Usually, if his pants are a bit long, they'll crease or pull around where the feet are, so you'll see a bit of crease there. Now I'm rushing this a bit. You'll know that these lines aren't acceptable, don't you? They need to be a bit more neater than that, but I trust that you figure this out anyway without me telling you. Okay, shoes are tricky. You really need a reference image, so please go online. You know how to Google. Everybody knows how to Google these days, and just Google one. Okay, so he's a pretty stylish looking man. I reckon he needs some sort of hat. Hat must always look like they're big enough to encase the head, which is why it's always a good idea to draw the head first, and then the hat. Okay, and then you can erase hairy bits. Lines are a bit too thick. So I hope this has been helpful. This line will be exactly the same. You just need to draw one half and then copy the other one until you get a good drawing. Fingers. You probably want to know how to draw fingers, so let me just show you. There is no explaining. It's a bit hard. Again, look at my references in the resources folder. It shows you the anatomy of fingers. That would hopefully help you. Remember, the middle finger is usually, almost always, the longest, and it tapers at the end, making it slightly smaller towards the end. They are very tricky, guys. Don't worry, I won't be marking you too close on hands. I know they're tricky. Never draw hands like this. I mean, okay, that's an exaggeration. Never draw hands where you have stubby fingers all the way along, so they look like cartoon hands, okay? Because every finger has basically like a bone. So if you think of bamboos, have you seen bamboo plants? They're like that, really, the bones. So that's why you need to have that shape. 3 for each finger. Just think of it like that. Alright, so I'm gonna conclude this video now, because you should have enough to go on with clothes drawing. I'm gonna show you Sitara again just for what do I have here? Line. In terms of line quality, this is what I would be expecting for an HD. Don't know why that line is there, but quite detailed. I can see every shape, and I know how they would wrap around the character. So 3D-ness is important because you will be building this person in 3D, so the drawing must look three-dimensional instead of a flat cartoonish character. Okay.